Welcome back, nerds. I've got 20 new awesome puzzle games to recommend. Wahoo! Being and Nothingness. Developed by a team of computer scientists, this game will stretch you to your limits. Collect and combine beams, fire, laser, summon creatures, and use their various mechanics to solve levels. Sounds simple enough, but these puzzles are true Gordian knots that will take special planning and execution to pull off. A really fun and captivating tour de force that will demolish you. Infinifactory. This 3D automation puzzler is a doozy. You're given blueprints and you have to build a series of conveyor belts and machines to carve out exactly what's on order. Insanely hard. This is another fantastic Zachtronics title that barely spoon-feeds you the basics and asks you to develop an intuit mechanics to get through even the beginning levels. It's a tall order, but one of the best machine micromanagement adventures around. Linelith. A short game on rails about tracing a path, but one fraught with little secrets and meta puzzles that'll keep you sustained. Fun puzzles and chill vibes that can be completed in an afternoon. Another great title for people just jumping into the genre. Feels like a prototype of what could have been a bigger, better game, but perfectly fantastic at what it sets out to do. Stuffo the Puzzle Bot. A great puzzle platformer where you move boxes around, climb, and scale the limits of what Stuffo can do. Mess around with switches, play with water jets, and get to the goal. This one flew under the radar, and though it's a smaller game, there's plenty to tickle the noggin. A fun romp that doesn't overstay its welcome. Taiji. If you enjoy games like The Witness, where you have to solve environmental puzzles, this is the best 2D version on the market. I personally suck at these games and end up having to look up a bunch of solutions, so that's why I rank it pretty brutally. Half the time I think, damn, that's clever. The other half I think, God, that's pretty stupid. It's a roller coaster of emotions, but a prize for the more patient and aware players. Blockbuster Billy. Another Sokoban game with a math tile gimmick. Use plus, minus, multiplication, and equals tiles to forge blocks that you can move around to solve levels. A very underrated title that gets very creative with its mechanics. I had a blast with this game. The levels aren't super hard and it doesn't involve too much high-level math beyond basic arithmetic, but still poses a good challenge. Give it a shot if you like numbers. Alephant. One of the first complete games from Laszlo, one of the preeminent puzzle game developers of our time. Your goal is to abstract a series of tiles from cryptic but specific rule sets. It takes some getting used to the mechanics, and even though the game is small in scale, the levels get crazy hard. You'll learn some cool terms and letters of the Semitic alphabet, and figuring out how they all work together is a truly difficult task. Get ready to bash your head in. Pipe Push Paradise. Looks like a super relaxing, easygoing game about moving pipes to get the water pumps flowing, but this is devilishly difficult. Like trying to move a bunch of furniture around narrow doorways, you'll be tested in 3D space to make the impossible seem possible. The levels are small and there's no wasted space. A tough but fair challenge that should be at the top of everyone's list. Campfire Cooking. Use a series of sticks to rotate, cook, and make the perfect campfire snack. A fun twist on managing 3D space. This functions like an abstraction on sliding puzzles, but with a more engaging premise. Another short, fun, and challenging game with a great mix of levels. Give it a shot. The Golem. This is the best pure Sokoban game available. Another 10 out of 10 title, this game pulls no punches. From the very first level, you'll be scratching your head raw. Barely completed by a small fraction of players, prepare for a crazy gauntlet of levels. It looks janky and the music sucks, but this is the best kind of pure gameplay you could ask for from a Sokoban title. Get your hands on it. Hiding Spot. Another quaint, small title, you'll be tasked with an introvert's dream of piling office furniture around into a small fort that you can hide and bury yourself into. The levels and mechanics are fantastic, and this hits that perfect Goldilocks level of difficulty that will leave you rarely stuck and never bored. A great title for someone just getting into puzzle games. Paquerette Down the Bunburrows. I considered tabling this game for a later edition since the game isn't complete yet, but it's just too rich to ignore. The goal is to trap and collect cute rabbits, and to say this game is loaded with secrets is an understatement. There's something new around every corner. Absolutely brutally difficult as you get deeper into the game. I can't wait until the developers finish their roadmap so I can dive right back in. Stellabits. Probably the cheapest looking game on the list, but don't be a fool to underestimate it. You control a bunch of different characters with unique abilities, and working out how to use them in tandem is a fun challenge. Some units can fly, some can push blocks, some can swim. It seems trite, but I was pleasantly surprised to find the levels are very well designed and I had a great time, and you will too. Squishcraft, the goofiest looking game on the list, but you'd be making a huge mistake to take this game lightly. These levels are serious business. The gimmick here is you can bend and reshape blocks to do things like squeeze through tight spaces and bend light. It's brutally punishing. There were several levels where I didn't have the first clue what to do. Definitely for the hardcore puzzle lovers. Yugo Puzzle, based on one of the godfathers of the genre, Jelly No Puzzle, which I'll cover in a future video. This follows along the same pattern where you have to move around and match up jellies based on their color. The Japanese developers, Star, are behind this incredibly fun and challenging game that will leave you wondering how to solve some very clever puzzles, as well as how all the time flew by. A very rewarding experience. 14 Minesweeper Variants. Great logic deduction game with a bunch of different modes and rules which eventually combine into some crazy difficulty. It's another complex game where there's no guessing involved. I thought I'd play for a few short rounds, but it has near infinite levels and I found myself playing it for weeks. The challenges get progressively harder and it's just got incredible staying power. Huge marks for me. Bonfire Peaks. More 3D block pushing. Your goal is to push boxes into a fire, and this game has major style points. The music is really awesome and really captures the mood. This game is really hard. It's got a lot of room for experimentation, and each level introduces something new. It feels really great to finally conquer the hardest levels, and I can't wait to get around to the DLC, which apparently gets even crazier. Altered. This is a small game with tight, perfect little puzzles that give you ample amount of challenge. It's basically 3 games in one as you play with 3 different figures with 3 distinct movesets and mechanics, and each one is equally hard and fun. Another small, unheralded game that's worth more attention. TIS 100. Raise your hand if you think compiling assembly language sounds fun. That sure as hell wasn't me, given this game includes an instruction manual and asks you to do a little homework. The result is one of the most engrossing and complex games I've ever played. This one is insanely hard. I barely crawled my way towards completing every puzzle on the screen, then I found out there was a second page and that I was only halfway. Ay caramba. The Sequence 2. Build little machines that rotate push discs around. This one's also available on mobile, and it's a great way to pass the time. This is a great one to tinker around with, and while it never gets overly complicated, you'll still be met with some tough challenges. A good introduction to programming mechanics. Well, that's it for now. I'll see you guys for the 3rd installment. Remember to love yourselves and each other.